Hello guys, welcome to today's session. Can you hear my voice? Very good. You can also talk with me should you want to. Can you also see my screen? Yes, very good. Okay, I left a big blue button, so I'm gonna ignore it now. Just gonna take the register from there for today. I'm not entering these registers to SIS, just taking them for now in case someone wants them in the future. And that's it. So I'm gonna ignore now a big blue button and gonna start my lecture. Today we're gonna do quite a lot. It's gonna be an interesting course, hopefully. In the last week, before we start, I would like to tell you something that I uploaded a new section under projects. Let me switch my view to student. I got so many screens in front of me, hard to manage now. So I'm gonna switch to student account and inside projects you will see something called upload Teams form. Just underneath the project Teams form there should be a link for you. Upload Teams form. If you have completed your forms, you can upload them here now, okay? Into this submission place, just add a new submission and upload your form. The one that you did for project Teams, okay? The one that I gave you last week, you can now upload it. Now, the first person, this thing shows the times and the dates that of the upload. So I work as first come, first gets logic. So if you upload your team project before anybody else, you take the topic and you move on. If someone else does it before you, then obviously they will take that topic. So the earlier you do the upload, the better it will be for you. Please upload it as a PDF file. It is, I think it should accept only PDF files. That is what I set it up. So if you upload anything else other than a PDF file, it might actually trigger an error for you. So make sure that it's a PDF file. I will check them one by one once these uploads are done at the end of this course. And as I go through them, if I discover your topic is selected, I will contact you back. Okay? I will send you a message and tell you that, sorry, but your topic is taken. So you've got to change it. So do your upload now if you can, so your topic will not be selected and you'll be on the safe side. So now that we cleared that out from the way, I want to go back to my topic, which is the software project for management of software projects. Last week lecture, we discussed about managers' role, such as how they organize, how they collaborate, motivate the employees, create new ideas, and so forth. All of these we discussed in the last week. We also discussed the three important responsibilities of project managers. These are the project planning, risk management, and people management. So we're going to touch to these topics throughout this course, and we're going to discuss some of this stuff. So we also discussed some project failures in the past. Uh, so basically, we had a discussion. If you watch it from the previous classes, you will see that some of you also contributed to this discussion, and we discussed about some failed projects in current day, and it seems like these are cut-off projects right now. They're not coming back anytime soon, although it could be that they might come back in the future with a different title. We discuss why these projects failed, basically. So when we concern about project management, we are concerned on time, on the schedule, the requirements, to both the user and stakeholder requirements, and to make sure that these are within the budget of the project itself. So it seems like most of the time managers do nothing, just they wander around and talk to people. But managing a project is actually much more than that. Making sure that the project is on time, to be a supervisor of the project, to organize activities, meetings, make sure that the stakeholders are happy and the user requirements are satisfied is actually a difficult task. Today, I'm going to introduce you some of the techniques and also tools that project managers do to organize these tasks, these time schedules and dependencies, to kind of like find a balance in finding out when the project will be finished. There are specific tools and techniques that we use in project management that we can actually decide these kind of predictions. As long as we know the task, as long as we know the dependencies of the task and the duration, which means how long it will take a specific task to be completed, it is possible to calculate the project end date, which is going to be the release date. A manager or team leader's job is also to create cohesive group and organize their group so that they can work together effectively. This involves creating a group within the right of balance of technical skills, personalities, organizing the group members, and so forth. So a diverse group always functions better than a non-diverse one. So this is why in companies you will see job offers that they offer, for example, different kind of religions, sexual orientation, or they just advertise in their job vacancies that women of color are welcome to their organization and so forth. So the more diverse environment you create, the more culture you put into the project itself, and hence why it enriches the project management as well as the work being produced. So assembling a team, it is may not be possible to appoint ideal people to work on a project because maybe the project budget may not allow the high paid staff to be available. Managers have to find a balance to basically find and identify these constraints, especially when the staff is undertrained. There are different approaches being followed to overcome these difficulties. For example, whenever you get a job on Facebook, on Google, you do not immediately start a job. Actually, you go to a training period that can last from 1 month to 3 months, and you go and train how the company is organized, how the system works, what you're going to do in your daily activities, what kind of tools they use to achieve. So you kind of like a student, you go into the courses or a certificate program, let's say, attend it, be trained to work within their framework, and then you get the job position and you start. So it's not like if you be accepted to Google or Facebook, you will start working the next day. You go to an extensive period of training. You will be trained and then you start your job. So this is kind of like preventing for the staff to a certain degree that They might not have the skills, or they might need to develop additional employee skills on software projects. And this is a common approach being followed in our industry. People are an organization's most important asset. The tasks of a manager are essentially people oriented. Unless there is some understanding of people management, will be unsuccessful. Poor management obviously result the projects to be failed. So this is a very, how do I say, delicate matter, because while companies will tell you that, oh, we value you, we do this, we do that, it is not their actions, it is not what they say, but their actions that matter the most. Unfortunately, we live in a capital world right now, and everything is about money. So despite that, these organizations, these companies will tell you that, oh, you are a big asset for us, we do not want to lose you, and so forth, many of the companies actually see you as a disposable asset, because you are replaceable as quickly as you are hired for the job. One way of preventing this is to continuously train yourself within that specific organization or company, and get involved in multiple projects or multiple training at the same time. This makes you as a person that will lose their position more difficult, because if you are involved in more than one project, and especially trained to do some of the tasks that the company members are not very experienced, or you are just involved being a scaffold, being a crucial part of it, then it would be much difficult for you for them to dispose you from the company. And this is how I think you should handle it. You should be involved in multiple variety of work, and train to understand the system, get the necessary certificates or programs or training whatsoever, so that you will be a valuable asset for the company, and so that they wouldn't really risk uh, the option to dispose you, even if the circumstances are not good. These are everything we discuss in theory, but in practice, things can be different. Even under the circumstances that the company does not want to, because some certain situations can happen, and the companies might lay off people. Our industry is the most rapidly changing industry, so it's very difficult to predict what's going to happen. Like the jobs that are the most well paid jobs right now, such as data scientist or machine learning, are the top jobs in our industry right now, and they pay really good money, like over $100,000 dollar per year is the average salary for these jobs. And when you look at them, these jobs actually didn't exist 10 years ago. So we cannot know what's going to happen in the next 10 years, and what the situation will happen. So it's a very different field. When you look at for example, a history teacher, what they do in their job is they basically explain the history to people. So their employability, first of all, is not challenging. It's not a big market out there for them. Second of all, there is very little room for them to develop themselves, because they are basically explaining the history, and history is already done. There's nothing there that they can update themselves, unless they can dig in and even investigate the history even further. But that's it. Where in our field, every day, every year, there's a new trend being risen. Like right now, quantum computers are getting popular, and people are working on projects. Big companies are actually supporting this, like IBM, HP are supporting this, and the quantum They're looking ways at how they can combine quantum with AI, for example, and do some of the calculations that will take maybe 100 years in basically in seconds or minutes. So these are some of the big projects that people are investing today, and we don't know where this is going to go. Many of the websites are applying AI at the back, and this didn't happen. This didn't exist even 6 7 years ago. So what I'm saying is, if you want to be a valuable asset to your company, to the place that you will work in, and if you want to promote and basically be something that is not disposable to them, you need to improve yourself. You need to adapt to these technologies. You need to spend extra time outside of your work environment, outside of your daily routine to learn new technologies. The only way that you can be a very successful software engineer is to integrate it into your life. There is no other way to it. If you see it as a 9 to 5 job and something that you're gonna, earn money and survive, that's not gonna happen. You're not gonna earn a lot of money just because you go to work from 9 to 5. You can survive, obviously, but you're not gonna be a person who's gonna be a very successful software engineer. What's going to happen in there is that if you integrate this into life, if you make it your routine, your hobby even, then you can be a very valuable asset, and many companies would appreciate your effort, your extra time, your interest of other projects and involvement, and then they will see you something that they would not easily dispose. So, like I said, everything that we discuss here is in theory. I am sure every person who's taking this course would know that they have to respect to other team members. The honesty should be the integrity of the work, the consistency. So these are like common knowledge. It's not even software engineering specific, but they are listed in your book actually and discussed in an extensive way. So I put the titles there. I'm not going to spend too much time on how respect works between companies or what is consistency among team members. You should know these by now. You are all involved in the academy. It's more or less the same. There's a code of conduct. You need to follow up the basic honesty, just like when you are given an assignment. You do not go and cheat. You're supposed to generate it yourself. And when teamwork is given to you, you are supposed to involve. So your teacher will not actually tell you, get involved in the project. You should know this by yourself. You should know how to talk to a manager, like just like you know how to talk to a lecturer, because these are busy people. They're not going to waste their time on you if you do not respect them or respect to the integrity of the company. So you know all this stuff already. It's not very different from an academic environment. So I'm not going to spend time on it. If you want to read about this stuff, you can check out the book. I told you to get the book, so I hope you got it before before all this pandemic situation happened. I told in the class to get the book. So if you got the book already, you can read the management of people there is discussed, and you can get more information. Basically, there is a hierarchy in human needs. uh, there's a person in psychology that drove this pyramid of self-realization. When we look at this pyramid, there is the physiological needs at the bottom, which is like the food, like basic needs that we have to survive: sleep, food, shelter. Then we need a safety environment to basically that we can go back and feel safe, like our home, that nobody is gonna, we can sleep properly. No one is gonna treat us badly there, and we would actually will be our safe zone. So that will be in this case our home. We have social needs. Ironically, our social needs now, right now, is very minimum. So we are social creatures. We are supposed to communicate. We are not supposed to isolate ourselves, and that usually results with depression and anxiety issues. When all these three skills, the needs, not skills, needs are satisfied, we have esteem needs, which is self-realization. Basically, the next step will be self-realization, such as your motivation, the drive to success, the confidence. So what the companies actually should aim is that they should support all these needs, and on the top of it, when you have the esteem, when you they motivate you to work even murder, then the company becomes really, really productive. So what Muslim says that when you support all these needs, physiological needs, so if you do not give people enough money, they can't go and buy food, water, they can't basically have a shelter to go and sleep, they cannot take care of themselves to be healthy. So that's going to be their priority. There you need to create a social environment for them so that they can go and socialize even in the work environment, such as cafe places, coffee, an arcade, or a social platform, such as they can do dinners, work dinners, and so forth. And on the top of that, you should provide an environment with a variety of people from different cultures, different religions, different sexual orientations. And when you involve these people into the same environment, they learn from one another. Only when you achieve those four needs, then you actually, the people themselves would automatically self realize that they are thriving for morality, for creativity, for problem solving, for going above and beyond. So if a person is hungry, or is not feeling safe, or have social anxiety issues, then it is not logical to expect that person to be very confident, to care about others as much as what you expect from them, or to be extremely proficient in problem solving. That research has been done in 1943. Imagine. And it is a theory of human motivation. It is a published paper actually by Albert Maslow. Unfortunately, many conferences, many project management courses will mention this pyramid, but in the real environment, this is pretty much ignored. As you can see, we live in a very fast changing, very liberal, very, I wouldn't say liberal, but very capitalist world. So the big companies especially wouldn't care if you are not surviving there with the money that are given to you. They do not ask you where you stay or if you are safe, or some of them are not really providing even a social environment for you, and then they expect you to be extremely creative, extremely proficient, and solve the problems, even though your basic needs down there are not satisfied. This is, I would regard it as a problem in not only specific to our industry, but problem of the world. It wasn't like this 20 years ago, not this bad, at least. But the world became such a competitive environment that it became more and more difficult now to find a very satisfying job that will consider these needs before they consider you to achieve to self-realization needs. Big companies, however, understand some of these issues, and they try to make sure that they value their employees. At least they try to create that image from outside so that you will know that you are valued. Such as you would expect the Google offices to be a very professional, environment where everyone wears jackets and suits and they go to work like they go in Canary Wharf or whatever, like big places and stuff like that. But actually, Google offices are nothing like that. It's the opposite that they want to apply, a relaxed environment where you can feel at home, where you can relax, where you can do activities, where you can socialize and explore other aspects of your needs. Many big companies understand that if they keep their employees within the company, then they will feel more motivated. This is why many software companies, including some of them that I know in the Greek side here, they have big buildings where they can have an arcade, which you can have a break time, go and play old video games in the arcade. They have a gym, they have yoga classes, they have other juice bars or whatsoever. So you just go there during the work hours and you basically get benefits from this because it's a huge motivation for employees to have this in the work environment. So they wouldn't rush to go leave the work to go to the gym, or they wouldn't rush to go and have a coffee or juice with their friends. Instead, what they could do, they could invite those people, still stay in the company, have half an hour, whatever break, and then go back to work. So this is why big companies know this, and they try to keep their employees in the company, and so that they will feel like they are at home and they will stay more than necessary and finish the task. So it goes back to the pyramid. They give them the environment so they can satisfy some of these needs so that they will stay in the work environment. Does it make sense what I say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you look at the some of the offices of big companies, you will see that this now became a trend, and many places are actually applying it. More and more, I see different companies, even the not necessarily large scale one, but medium to small ones, are trying to apply it as much as they can. Another important aspect of our industry is that it's the teamwork that is the success. So, like I said in the previous example, a history class can run just one person standing there and telling you the history, and you just focus on that and listen the guy, and you learn history. You can do the same thing with geography. You can do the same thing, basically anything related to literature. You can even do it on yourself. But unfortunately, in software engineering world, most of the stuff is team, not a group activity, but a team activity. A team does the job, not individual people. So what a cohesive team basically has the team spirit. People get involved, and what they do is they try to cover the weak points of one another. For example, I could be an excellent programmer, but I'm not a punctual person, or I do not have, I'm not known for my patience. This is my weak point. In that case, another person can understand my weakness and cover it. Because I'm not a very timely person, I might not appear on time to my desk or on the meetings. And what happens in there is that it might be that another person takes the notes and cover me, keeps me updated, keeps me loop. Uh, there could be another member in your team who has low self-esteem or low motivation, and needs to be encouraged. So a team understands these needs are a necessity, and more importantly, the manager has to look after their team in order to close these gaps. So managers must do their best, so what they can with the available people. Okay. Group interaction, as in many circumstances, communication is the key. So whenever you have problems, it is best to approach people and tell the problem, what the problem is, before it gets into an avalanche and destroys you. Okay, So in a organizational structure, it is best to talk out the problems before they get serious. Whenever people form their teams, they do not form them from their friends. They try to create a cohesive structure where they can close each other gaps. Like this, because this is a software engineering class, one has to be a very good programmer, obviously, but that person might not understand from some other's task. For example, the management part, for example, how long the job will take, for example, the documentation. So you identify these strengths and weak points for each member, and then based on that, you select the next member so that he or she will cover up the weaknesses in the team. That should be the structure of selecting the people who you work with, not because you just know them or you are friends with them. Okay, you do not have to be friends with the people you work with, uh, but what you need to do is you need to act as a body. Okay, and it's a very important skill you should learn in the university, so when you go into the industry you can be a part of a team. uh, One of the most difficult, I will say, cancer of our industry is, unfortunately, happens in the project management step. This is called false advertisement, and like I said, it's a cancer in our field. False advertisement means that you advertise or you show something too ambitiously, and the end product itself or the end service has nothing to do with what you have advertised. So you kind of like advertise an interactive tool to achieve something very easily. But then when you actually use the tool, you realize that what you have sold in the video or in the advertisement, it wasn't that easy, at least, to achieve to that result. It's like seeing something on the menu of a restaurant and it looks beautiful, it looks charming, it looks delicious, and when you actually order it, it just has nothing to do with what you actually saw. Okay, that we call as the false advertisement. It is, like I said, happens quite a lot in our industry. Particularly interactive tools such as games has this. They advertise something and it turns out nothing like what they advertised. And unfortunately, the bad side of this, that in most cases this doesn't go into legal issues because there are ways to avoid it. So just by putting a small text underneath each video, each advertisement, as this is not the final version of the product, it is just a prototype done for the advertisement or something, they get away with every single lawsuit cases, unfortunately. And it might be good that you might know this. So when you do the advertisement of a product, please don't encourage false advertisement. That is very dishonest. But just to protect yourself from any lawsuit, from someone suing your company for false advertisement, it is best that everywhere you put your product display, a simple text should appear and say that this is not the final version. The version you see here is subject to change, or some sort of text so that you can protect your rights. We are now under 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, I'm gonna accept them now. And if you do not have any questions, I'm gonna end this session and basically start a new one. I think Rawant has a question, right, Rawant?
Yes, so I have a question.
Can talk.
Before, like a few slides ago, like you were talking about the AI or the
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. And I would like to ask you this question: is AI possible to be used in chat effectively, the same as human? Like, is
It's
it
AI
possible
what?
to?
I didn't get the question.
My question is this: is AI? Is it possible to use AI in chat? Like for example, someone's chatting with AI, but
Yes,
effectively like same as human.
yes, it is possible.
Like,
Majority of the customer service is actually done in that regard. Like you might not realize, but when you connect to a bank AI on customer service, when you talk to someone, or even on certain websites, the person who you talk to is not actually a person, it's a robot. What it does is it scans the words one by one, that the words that you mentioned, such as I am displeased with my offer, my order didn't arrive, or something like that. It catches up those phrases, okay, and it matches with its pattern at the background, and response gives you an automatic message by response. So it says something like, for example, give me your order number. You write the order number there, and it just scans it automatically and finds it out. Big companies such as Amazon, I'm not quite sure if Amazon completely apply this, but I know some AI is involved in their company. What they do is that they try to reduce the number of people that they hire to work, so that they can earn even more money. Okay, so what they do is that they want to apply an automated system that can respond to these tickets that the customers raise, and so they can reduce the number of people they pay for the customer service. And because millions of people are using those websites, it's also best for them, because Amazon basically earns money of not using offices. That is actually how Amazon got very, very rich, by getting an expert on posting stuff and not having a physical location. And that is their business model. They don't want to have a physical office. They don't want to pay people the extra money. They want to do everything autonomously. So that is why they apply some AI. Yes, it is possible.
And yes, thank you for the answer. The second question is about the false advertisement that you were talking about.
Okay, can we
That
ask this question in the next session, because I only have 1 minute now? Okay.
okay, sir.
Keep your question. I'm gonna end the session now and re-invite you on BB. Please go
Okay,
back to BB, and I'll send you an invitation, and we can continue the lecture there. All right?
okay, sir. Thank
All
you.
right. See you. Bye.